good evening, everyone, and thank you all for joining in. I'm Sachin Samson. I'm a visual artist working primarily in figurative painting and drawing. Imagine turning everyday things into extraordinary art. That's what happens when artists use creativity to turn ordinary scenes into something meaningful and profoundful. They make the ordinary seem magical, making people see things from a very new perspective. It's like a magic trick where the familiar becomes unfamiliar, like making us rethink about the world we see. For example, a painting depicting a very simple scene of a person sitting alone in a cafe might seem unremarkable at the first glance, but when the artist uses color, composition, and symbolism to evoke some kind of a loneliness, a sense of loneliness, or like contemplation, or some kind of an existential angst, the whole mundane act of sitting in a cafe takes on a very deeper meaning. The viewers may find themselves drawing to, connecting to the painting by reflecting on their own experiences of solitude and introspection. So here we are looking at the famous painting, The Potato Eaters, painted by Vincent van Gogh in 1885. It is actually the first really ambitious painting that Vincent made. And as you can see, there are 5 figures in the painting. A woman pouring coffee and the others are eating potato, their main meal. So there is, as you can see, the painting is not perfect in academic sense, but what makes it special is how Vincent uses rough brushstrokes to portray his subjects in a very raw and honest way. It's a kind of sincerity towards the lives of the peasants and also a sincerity to himself. At this point, Vincent wants to be a painter of everyday people, choosing to paint moments from his own rural hometown rather than focusing on the city life and its fancy ways. So I started my art journey by sketching everyday scenes and capturing moments from daily life. And it evolved into this series called The Humanscape. It started out as these simple line drawings in my sketchbook, and it's developed into a note to the common man from different cultures of India. There's something about the coastal life that really intrigued me. I started visiting the coastal areas, documenting and observing the life of the fisherman, the simplicity of their lifestyle, their attires, and various other narratives from the coastline. So all of this kind of amalgamated into a very, which became the basis of my artwork that I executed in various parts of the state. So I've always enjoyed sketching people around me. And one day I had this idea of bringing my art out into the public eye. So I found a blank wall in a heritage space in Fort Kochi. And I decided to paint a large charcoal mural of a fisherman that I had met around that area. So as I started working on the painting, something amazing happened. A crowd started to gather, and it kept growing. And by the time I finished, the crowd started, some of the people actually recognized the man that I had drawn. And also, they started interacting with me about the art and the process behind it. So drawing a mural or painting a mural in a public space is a very challenging act because it is time consuming, it is spontaneous and unpredictable, but there's something magical about it. As during this time, there is a very beautiful space that is formed. And in that space, it's a space where people connect and share emotions and also engage in the art. It's like talking to a stranger through a drawing. And a few weeks later, I was surprised to see this image published in various media, and also it appeared in few movies, including one from Bollywood. And years later, the mural was washed away, but the emotions and the connections remained. And it was those emotions and memories that really mattered in the end. And again, years later, all of these simple stories of the fisherman and the coastal life became large, intricate murals that adorned the walls of big hotels, galleries, and private spaces. I believe that the art is not complete when you're done making it. The art is complete when people see it and are able to experience and connect to it. To me, art is more than just capturing something visually. It is a journey into the lives of the people, their thoughts and their experiences. It's like traveling through their minds and their emotions. Maybe that journey itself is an invisible form of art, and I'm just trying to recreate it visually for myself and for others. A few years ago, I had an opportunity to work on a very interesting project which captured the essence of the coastal life by painting it on the walls of a fisherman's house. It was in a coastal town called Kasaba in Kasaragod, Kerala. So when I met him and his family, they opened up a lot about their lives, their daily lives, and the routines of their sea voyages. So every night they would head out to the sea to catch fish. Some days they would come back with a big catch, and other times they would come back empty-handed, facing a tough loss. I also met a lot of local people during my visit to the coast. There were seafarers, boat makers, and also a lot of different fishermen, and I also met talented singers and storytellers, and they all had some very intriguing stories to share. The stories of the ocean, the songs of the sea, the songs of the fisherman. They also spoke about local myths and legends, and a few people shared a few stories about certain rituals that has been passed down through generations. And during the day, they took me to the serene mangroves, and it was also home to a lot of beautiful migratory birds. And at night, we explored the backwaters, spotting the magical bioluminescence. So all of these scenes were just everyday sightings for the coastal people, but for me, it sparked a very surreal and dreamy imagery. So somehow I tried to bring all of these visuals into life by painting it on the walls of the fisherman's house. So as I started working on the painting, I could see a transformation of the environment. And a lot of local people had gathered there. They were all so curious about what I was painting, and I also met this really interesting man. He was a very simple man, but he was so passionate about music. And every time he would show up, he would sing these beautiful folk songs and share a lot of stories from the coast. I noticed that some of his stories and the songs were related to the coastal life and the sea life. I also met, there were also women who showcased immense hospitality by serving us delicious food, and also a lot of kids joined with a lot of fun and enthusiasm. So the whole painting became, or the space became, a very happy gathering. And when I painted the everyday scenes of the fisherman's house, they were amazed by seeing the vibrant interpretations of their world. It felt like the art kind of gave them a whole new way of seeing things, turning their ordinary lives into something really special. And I also realized that the art is a form of connection and communication between the people whom I meet serendipitously in my own journeys. It's like, when you think about it, every moment holds a story in it, but we're all just so busy with our lives that we forget to appreciate these little things that makes our life more meaningful and beautiful. The art has this huge power to infuse even the most simplest experiences with profound meaning, emotion, significance, enriching our understanding of the world around us. Thank you.